The movie starts on Memorial Day. Because there is an interview of many candidates for a high post in the renowned company. 8 candidates had been chosen for it. They were very excited. All are taken into the examination hall as they reach it. There were 8 seats. There was a piece of paper on each seat with the written roll number on it. There was a security guard at the door of the examination hall. Then a male invigilator arrives. He says, "Only you 8 candidates have been chosen here. That was not a piece of cake. So listen to me and act accordingly." He says, "Only one question will be asked of you. The duration will be 80 minutes. And there will be 3 rules to it. No one can talk to me or with the guard, according to the first rule. Secondly, if you spoil your answer sheet, or if you step outside of this examination hall, you will not be considered eligible." Then he asks, "Is there any question?" All are kept silent. He leaves after saying it. The question paper is blank when they cast their glances at it. There is no written word on it. Nothing was being understood. Meanwhile, a girl writes on it, "I am sure that I deserve this job." But the guard gets her out, coming to her. Because she had spoiled her question paper. Now they are all got worried. Then one of the boys says, "If we cannot talk to the guard or invigilator, we can talk with one another." No one gets them out because of their conversations with one another. So they are comforted. They get the understanding that there is a need to search for a question in this interview, not the answer. One of the boys says, "We will be able to search out the question while coordinating." Each of them supposes that it is quite possible that they may want to check our coordination or intelligence. So it is the reason that they have given the blank paper. One of the candidates is about to tell his name. The second candidate says, "Our question paper consists only of our numbers, not names. It may be part of the exam of not taking names." Then they assign nicknames to each. One is a Negro among 8 candidates. He is given the nickname Black. And the fair boy candidate is given the name White. Having blonde hair, a girl candidate is given the name Blonde. There are 2 more boys and girls candidates. One of the boys is sitting quietly. It appeared that he was not interested in all of them. Afterwards, they say the invigilator did not ban them from their seats. The guard does not say a single word, even as they stand up. One of the standing girls there says, "It may be possible that the written words on this question paper are invisible." Suddenly, the boy brings that paper to the light. But there was still nothing visible. Then the blonde-haired girl says, "Hidden text on paper may be visible through pencil shading. It means a hidden question will appear with a pencil shade." White says to her, "Why do you not try it?" Black calls her to stop when she is trying to do it. "Have you not remembered that you will be disqualified if you spoil your paper?" Another girl says, "Our question may be on one another's papers. And we have to answer them." Then Black says, "It is also possible that we are required to answer the same question. It may be on the question paper of someone among us." White begins to check papers in the light, standing up. But a boy who was still silent has not given his paper to be checked. White also checks his paper while going to him. But his question paper was also blank. They say there will be a way with which we may search out the question. Then Black says, "It may have been written with that thing, which is not visible in usual light." Then Blonde observes, "There is a blue light that is being seen on the side of the walls." They think they will try to read this paper under this light. But they cannot find the button to switch off the usual light and turn on this light. Then Black says, "It is emergency lighting. After switching off the electricity, it will be automatically switched on. So we will have to create a blackout." So they started breaking the lights one by one. But some of them object, saying, "No. Just imagine. If the blue light does not switch on, will you take the risk of staying in the darkness and damaging these lights?" Then they just vote for it. 4 candidates say that we are ready to take this risk. Then they damage all the lights. Fortunately, blue light spreads all over the room along with it. Now they check their papers one by one, placing them in the blue light. But it is still invisible. All get upset. Because 20 minutes had already passed. Now they had only an hour. White says, "We cannot spoil our paper according to the invigilator. but he has not been forbidden from spoiling the papers of others. The girl, who was first got off from the room by the guard, gave him the shade of pencil on her paper, taking it. But there is also nothing visible. Afterward, White suggests that the paper be torn into 4 pieces while taking it, and it should be observed whether something is visible here or not. Afterward, he urinates on the paper, putting it in the corner. All are much irritated because of his action and say ill of him. And a silent candidate who was seated in the corner starts weeping. He begins to speak in French. A girl says, "He is sane, it reveals yourself." One of the boys assumes that it may be a game, not an exam. Then he observes a big glass in front of him. He says it may be possible that the invigilator is making fun of us with others while witnessing our movements. But one of the girls says, "No. This company is not like this. Its CEO keeps an eye on everything. He is surely the CEO, if there is someone. Don't worry, because he will not act absurdly." Here a strange fact is revealed. All candidates have come here for a job interview with no knowledge of this company's name. Actually, it was that company that was manufacturing a drug for a disease. A disease in which the patient has to take the medicine every hour. And his disease's infections are gradually slowing down. But that boy says, this company had stopped hiring people after a great loss. That girl says, "No. It is just a pretense before the world. It is assumed that they may have discovered the cure for that disease." Then the boy says, "Yes. They have been making progress, if it is as such. And it may also be thought that they are hiring us." Then they cast a glance at the fire alarm. They think there may be a chemical that is used to develop the photos, and there may be something on the question paper that will be visible after dropping the chemical on it. Then a girl goes hurriedly and takes out a lighter from the guard's pocket, so it may extract fluid or chemicals as she turns on the lighter flame near it. When she climbs there to take a lighter, the lighter's flame cannot reach there. Then White gives her a folded piece of paper from the below side, saying, "Make this paper accessible to it while burning it." But when she notices it after the beeping of the fire alarm, it is her question paper. The guard disqualifies her because of her spoiled paper. There were only 6 candidates left. Black is in extreme anger due to this action of White. He says, "I should punch your lights out." Saying it, all lights are switched off. Blonde says to him furiously, "What have you done?" Then a boy standing beside him says, "Lights out." As a result, all lights have switched off. Now I will say, "Lights on," and then all lights will be switched on. And the lights are immediately restored. Then they learn that these used to be operated by voice control. And a seated, silent candidate there begins to cry in anger, hearing them. Then White says, going to him, "Why do you not tear your paper?" Being sentimental, he tears up his paper. Then the guard excludes that silent, seated candidate. And his eyeglasses fell and broke while he was going. Black punches White in full rage. After this, he is knocked out after falling down. Then Black tied him with a chair. He comes to after a while and tries to utter something, but Black does not remove the stripe on his lips. Meanwhile, a girl removes the strip from his lips. He requests, "Give me my medicine." Then it is revealed here that White was infectious from that disease, whose drug was being manufactured by this company. And he has to take the dose after each hour. He says, "I have known that question. I will reveal it to all of you if you give me a dose." But there is nothing in his pockets when these are checked. Meanwhile, he loses his consciousness again. Then a boy starts to suspect the girl has untied the strip of White, because she works for the same company. He says to her, "I have discovered that you are here to keep an eye on us and for our distraction. So you may divert our attention. Tell me, what is the question?" She says, "I am only a candidate, and I have never seen the CEO of this company yet. Believe me. I also don't know what the question is." In the same way, it is noticed that White's body begins trembling. Blonde says to everyone that he is dramatizing the situation. Black says to her, "No. He is not dramatizing. He is suffering from the same illness that my wife faced." Then Blonde says, "Was it a fact that he had that dose? It means that dose is among us if he is not now. And we should check on one another." There were only 15 minutes left for them. They begin to check on one another, but no one can discover the dose. Then a girl goes to that boy who had said, "I suspect you." She asks him, "Where did you keep your chewing gum after chewing?" Then she notices that his chewing gum has the same medicine. She gives it to White, who is going there. But that boy whose chewing gum had this medicine hit his hand, so that medicine fell down the drain. No one was getting access to it. That girl says before the camera, "Invigilator, can you not see that he is dying?" Then the guard gets her off, coming there, because she had violated the rule. Then Blonde gives the medicine to White, taking it out with her pin. Now there were only 4 candidates left. Then they ask White, "Reveal the question of ours, as we have given you a dose." He says, "The answer is hidden in this question. The last remaining candidate is the answer to this question." He runs to the guard, saying it, because he had a gun. But Black possessed that gun before him. And he points his gun at White. White says to him, "Oh, you want to shoot me? So fire it." Black fires his gun, but it also does not work. White snatches the gun quickly from him, but it also does not work when he fires. Then they come to know that there was a guard's fingerprint on the gun. They activate it by going to the guard. But White points his gun at that boy, who had left except for White and Black. And he leaves the room in fear. There were only 3 candidates left, including Blonde, White, and Black. Says to Black, "It is your turn to leave the room." Then Black says, "Why will I leave?" Then Blonde says, "All right, I leave." She utters while reaching for the door, "Lights out." And all lights are switched off with it, and she hides herself there. And White begins to shoot to and fro, viewing nothing. He finds that Black is in a falling state when he says "lights on." And he has received a gunshot to the body. Now his eyes have also been closed. Blonde's foot is still in the room when he notices. And she herself is outside the room. He thinks that he has been left alone in the room as he has Blonde out. He says, going before the camera, "You have got your answer. I have left this room, so I got the job." Then the guard shows him the time on his wristwatch, and he comes there. He says, "Look. There are still some remaining seconds." Because that seated silent candidate was in the examination hall, he had forwarded a few seconds in his watch, going there. White thought as time was over, he talked to the guard. So the guard disqualifies him, and there is only Blonde left. That silent candidate who was getting off and whose eyeglasses had fallen. Blonde begins to check her paper, picking up her glasses. Then she discovers the written question number 1, but there is no other statement with it. The invigilator and a man approach as the exact time is over. The man who was silent seated the candidate here. Blonde gets the understanding that he was the CEO of the company. He was keeping an eye on us while sitting with us. Blonde goes to them and says, "No." All are excited by her correct answer. In fact, the real question was the one asked at the beginning by the invigilator. "Do you have any questions?" Blonde had replied to it, "No." After this, she apologizes, saying, "I reject taking this job." She says, when the reason is asked, that I cannot serve in such a company, which destroys the lives of others. Then the invigilator goes to Black and says to Blonde, "Look here, he is still alive. Actually, this bullet has not been made to kill anyone. It consists of a capsule that recovers the wound immediately while penetrating the body. It will cure not only that disease but also the other diseases of the body. The whole world is struggling to discover it. We have made it, and you are being hired for it." Blonde is pleased to hear it. And she welcomes the job, and the movie also ends with it.